Next, we've been getting you all the latest updates on the Israel-Iran conflict. Let's talk about what could happen in the days to come. Mind you, we've been seeing with almost every single day an escalation in the conflict right now in West Asia. I have Sandeep with me who will be decoding for us what the escalation ladder in this conflict could look like. So Sandeep, take it away. I think we'll start with where things started first. What was the first step of escalation that's led to this point now?
Well, absolutely. Akshata, it was the 7th of October 2023 when Hamas attacked Israel, massacred civilians. 1,200 people were killed with utter brutality. Hostages were taken. Hundreds of them were taken prisoner, and they were taken into the Gaza Strip. And that is when Israel launched its massive ground assault of Gaza, in which tens of thousands of people have been killed. And of course, 50 hostages still remain unaccounted for.
So the first escalation, the first step that led to the escalation is what happened on October 7, 2023, where you had that attack, that brutal one by Hamas. The next step, let's talk about that as well, Sandeep, of what exactly happened. The next step in the escalation.
The next
ladder.
step was when Iran activated its network of proxies. This is a network that it had created over several decades. You had the Hezbollah in Lebanon, you had the Hamas, of course, in the Gaza Strip, you had Kataib Hezbollah in Iraq, and of course the Houthis in Yemen, 1,000 kilometers south of Israel. They launched attacks, missile attacks on Israel, and then Israel launched attacks to destroy all of these proxies, including Hezbollah, Hamas, and attack the Houthis.
And this was a time when you had multiple attacks, essentially. A multiple front opened up against Israel.
A ring of fire, as they called it.
The ring of fire,
yes.
And so you had Israel hitting back at every one of these sides. And then now, what's happened last week? Operation Rising Line, escalation ladder, the third step?
So we are at stage 3 when Israel launched unprecedented attacks on Iran. Yeah. Operation Rising Lion, 200 fighter jets launching attacks on something like 100 targets, killing Iranian nuclear scientists, leadership figures, attacking air bases, nuclear weapons sites, all of that. So that is where we were at just last week. And a week later, just a week later, you have stage 4, which is when Iran attacks Israel using hypersonic missiles.
This is the Fatah one that was used by Iran.
We're not very sure which one was used, but it was one of the three, the Fatah one, the Sejil, or the Khorram Shahar 3, which is IRBMs, intermediate range ballistic missiles, which enter the atmosphere at hypersonic speeds of over 10 Mach, between 10 and 15 times the speed of sound. And that is what was possibly used to attack the hospital there. So we are at another scale of escalation. We've climbed one step up the ladder from just 1 week.
In a matter of 1 week, you've seen essentially an unprecedented escalation. And that's what's got everyone worried about what could come next. This is, of course, Iran using hypersonic missiles. And while Israel has the much talked about Iron Dome, there have been missiles that have been able to permeate through and hit their targets. But let's talk about what happens next. And while we've broken down what's happened in the escalation ladder so far, the next few steps are essentially possibilities of how this could escalate further, Sandeep?
Absolutely. And this is the one big question that we are looking at. Will the United States enter the conflict on Israel's behalf? And if they do, what would they attack? And that one possibility is that the United States launches B-2 and B-52 bombers to strike at nuclear sites like Fordo, which are believed to be 90 meters underground. It's one of the world's most heavily protected and defended nuclear sites. It's a uranium enrichment facility. And if the United States enters that, it will have to destroy that for Israel, because that is the ultimate step to denuclearize Iran, as Israel and the United States want.
And that's what Israel is counting on. They've been pushing hard for US to step in because they don't have the kind of arsenal needed to target the Fordo nuke site, which is why they're counting on US stepping in. But if that happens, unprecedented escalation. This could then see an escalation beyond what anyone imagined, that this would be war, essentially.
It would be all-out war, because then Iran will have to retaliate. And if Iran chooses to retaliate, it's not going to attack the United States. It is going to attack all the US bases in West Asia. Now, the US has 8 permanent bases in West Asia, places like Egypt, Jordan, Kuwait, Iraq, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia,
Thousands of
UAE.
personnel,
There are
essentially.
50,000 American servicemen over there. Some of those bases, we are told, have already been emptied out. But Iran would choose to attack all of those bases to signal the fact that it would want to teach the United States a lesson, as they've been threatening. And of course, it could activate its proxies as well. Hezbollah could launch attacks on the United States. There was that truck bombing that Hezbollah carried out in the early 80s, where over 250 Marines, US Marines, were killed in Lebanon. It's one of the largest such suicide attacks, largest loss, single-day loss of US personnel. That was carried out by Hezbollah. Iran could activate them to carry out strikes on Hezbollah, carry out strikes on US interests. So that is in the realm of possibility, given the kind of non-state actors, this ring of non-state actors that Iran has cultivated over the years.
And you could see that in regional terror, as Sandeep pointed out, it could be cyber terror, also cyber attacks that Iran could kick off. But what that will also mean is intensified attacks from America. It won't stop there, Sandeep.
Well, then the Americans get involved in a conflict, exactly what they're worried about. This is again in the realm of possibility that the United States then would have to retaliate to Iranian attacks and proxy attacks. Then they would have to go all out to attack Iranian bases, infrastructure, literally move up the ladder from just targeting that one nuclear site to knocking out all of the Iran's military capabilities, ensuring that it's not just denuclearized Iran, but it is demilitarized as well. So that would be a very big step up the escalation ladder.
If there is retaliation from Iran, if America steps in, that's when you're going to see essentially a vicious cycle of strikes and counter-strikes, because stage 4 of the escalation ladder, stage 8 of the escalation ladder, and this is all, and if you see things move to this level, is essentially Iran shutting off the Strait of Hormuz. And that could be a big step also against America, against many countries.
It could be, basically, the Straits of Hormuz are very critical. It's where more than 50% of the world's energy supplies flow through. And Iran has signaled that in the past that it would shut the Straits of Hormuz if it was directly threatened with attacks of this nature. And given the fact that Iran is literally fighting with its back to the wall now, it is in the realm of possibility. It's one of these options. I'd like to remind our viewers that these are all possible alternatives. None of this actually happened. This is what we fear could actually happen if the conflict spirals out of control. And there, Iran could actually strike and shut down the Straits of Hormuz.
Worst case scenario, essentially, if you see US stepping in, it will be non-stop attacks, and Iran isn't going to sit quiet. They're going to try to hit back hard. But the worry here, Sandeep, is at what point will this to you, or if it will at all, turn nuclear?
Well, Iran does not have a nuclear weapon yet, but as our panelists on the show have mentioned, that it is within the realm of possibility that they could use a dirty bomb, an RDD, a radiological dispersal device, to attack the United States, targets bases around West Asia, possibly even Israel. And that is where things get really, really, nasty, where they go up the nuclear exchange ladder, and things go completely out of control, and that would lead to catastrophic consequences for Iran, because that is when the nuclear lines are going to be crossed, and Israel will have no option but to retaliate with nuclear weapons.
So if America get together and launch nuclear strikes on Iran, what you're looking at essentially then is a global conflict.
It is quite possible. It is. We don't know for sure, but given the way things have panned out in the last couple of months, it was almost improbable to think the kind of attacks that Israel launched on Iran. It is well within the realm of possibility that more countries could enter this war, either actively or as passive supporters.
Like China, like Russia.
China, Russia, if things go really, really south and they see Iran collapsing, it's an important ally for the Russian Federation. That is when these two countries could enter to stop further annihilation of the Iranian regime.
And all of this escalation happening if America actually goes ahead and takes military steps against Iran, which is why we're hoping that it doesn't come to that, because this is the worst case scenario that we've played out for you, where it could even turn nuclear. You could have other countries also stepping into this effectively, that it could turn into a global conflict. Thanks very much, Sandeep, for decoding that for us and joining us with your analysis. That's all we have time for in this edition.